Brooke, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. The success of your app continues. Did you launch that in 2018? Do I have that correct?
It's been about 3 years. So you're pretty close there. Yeah. It feels like yesterday. It's just been a grind of content and has now become a full-time gig for me. I love it. It doesn't feel like 3 years when you're doing something you love and doing something good, right?
Sure. How long did it take before launching in 2018? In other words, conceptualizing an app versus launching it. There's some people who want to make it look like, oh, I thought of it on a Monday and it was live on a Friday. But of course, workouts have to be filmed. You want to make sure that everything that you have on there is correct. In your case, how long did it take?
Well, I'm glad that you're asking me that because my body would say blood, sweat, and tears forever. Because you're right. I had an idea. I had it in Europe when I was stuck in a small space without access to a gym. And I thought, let me try this. Came home, had a few meetings, but quite literally just started, I made the deal, started building the app on the back end, and then probably produced 3 or 4 days a week, 20 hours of content, which if you think about it physically is unbelievable. So it took a whole summer. It took a quarter, I would say a whole season to shoot enough content to go live. And since then, I'm producing new content every week, which I love because I'm able to connect with the community, figure out what's working, what people want more of, what they're not watching as much of, and then seasonally creating programs to keep people interested because not everybody loves fitness. Let's be really honest. And I keep it real with my community. Fitness isn't always fun. There's sort of a lifespan. So you get bored, you move on, you set a goal. If you don't reach it, you're defeated, you give up. So I'm really about inspiring and encouraging. And it's not one of those kick your ass boot camps kind of apps. It's inspirational. I love working with women, moms, women everywhere, all shapes and sizes. And it's about a lot of things than just fitness and the bikini body. I don't even like that term. That was like a big trend this summer. It's about health and wellness and living and goals and accomplishment and just feeling good, connection, compassion, all that stuff, that's really important, if you will.
When people first started learning about you in an international kind of way in the 90s, it was all about having as many people see as much as possible, as often as possible. And then you basically grew into a niche industry, a successful cottage industry of your own. When did you first realize the importance of just being your own brand? Because nowadays everyone talks about being a brand.
Yeah.
I don't think people were really talking about being brands in the late 90s, early 2000s.
It is a new thing, developing a brand and being your own brand, which is kind of a weird thing, isn't it? It's like now running Brooke Burke Body. I'm the CEO. I'm me. I'm choreographing. I have to take me away from me. I have to put my CEO hat on, take my Brooke Burke hat off. It's all very strange. But I think I realized that health and wellness was always a big part of my life. No matter how much I did, raising children, hosting lives, no matter what it was, it always came back to what am I eating and what am I doing and how do I get in summer shape? Shallow, yes. Real, yes. So I was like, can we talk about how I'm raising my family? Yeah. But no, I am not mad at that. I really realized that when fitness digitized and I could connect with women around the globe and figure out how to show people how to sweat smart and be efficient and do it at home and give them sort of a body of evidence, humbly speaking, I really figured out how to train, how to spend less time working out, get better results for kids. I'm 50. Just turned 50. That's so weird.
In the best of ways.
It's so great. And it's so weird. But figuring out what works and being able to guide women. And I want to go back and be really vulnerable and honest. Going through the rebuilding and redesigning of my life after my divorce with David, I started guiding through my wellness business, female transformation retreats. So I did about 6 pre-COVID. I can't wait to get back to that space. But going through that process, I learned so much. Mm-hmm. And I got so much out of giving that time and just kind of digging deep into the psychology of women and change and transformation. So it deepened my commitment to wellness. And I love working with women. And it's become a full-time gig, and I love it. I really love it.
So my mind is blown by your productivity and the results that come from that, because the app is successful and you're the face of the app. You're expected to be on the app. You're then expected to do all the social media. You still pop up, hosting, acting, appearances, etc., while being a mother of four. So with all that productivity going on, are you a big calendar person or a big to-do list person?
I am a big calendar person and to-do list. I'm still an old school pen to paper kind of person. And I feel like that's a big part of accomplishing goals. Think it, make it tangible, write it, speak it, and then sort of do it. I have so much going on in my life, and I feel like I cruise and overdrive pretty well. But what I'm learning, and I think what these past few challenging years has taught us, is to slow down. And it's still a big life, but the mindful part of sort of my jam, like what I speak, what I preach, is finding moments of stillness to really connect. And I am moving slower. I'm moving maybe more careful, maybe more conscious, maybe more connected than ever. And it sounds like a lot when you describe my life, but I feel more connected because I understand mindfulness. I understand meditation now. I understand the value of recovery days, stretching, connection. And a lot of that type of work that I do allows me, I guess, to crush it in all these other areas and to go hard, I respect women that have that drive. My kids always say I'm constantly teaching them about hustle. Like, I feel like all the things that I do in my health and wellness space allow me to grind so hard,
Looking back, going back a bunch of years here, how much of what you're doing now, granted, we didn't know the technology was going to exist, that everything was going to be tablets and apps and smartphones, et cetera, but how much of what you're doing now was the plan at the peak of modeling?
Gosh, I don't think we really understood this digital world and even social media. I mean, not even going back 20 years plus to modeling, go back to even when I was on Dancing with the Stars. We didn't even have social media then. Can you imagine? We were banking on the moment of the TV screen time.
Right.
We weren't even telling our story on social media, where now we're directors, we're editors, we're creators. We have our own reality show going on, our story. Like, I almost feel like the access that we have breaking that wall with community, it's a whole nother world. And I like that interaction. Not everybody does. I like communicating directly with the audience, and I don't want to say fans, I want to say community. Like, that's how I develop my content. But I don't think we had any way, it's funny, really quick. I remember watching a movie with my now teenagers when they were younger. And it was the movie about a girl whose dad gave her this tablet, and it was what we now know as FaceTime. And she was getting busted. I don't remember the name of the movie, in a club because she wasn't where she was supposed to be. My kids were like, God, can you imagine, Mom, if that ever happened? And it was like we couldn't even imagine the possibility of what we're doing now. And imagine what's going to happen in the next decade, digitally speaking.
Absolutely.
I mean, even in the fitness space, the digital gym at home now, where I'm on the smart TV on every platform. I could be your personal trainer in your living room. Like, what? How is that possible for a nickel a day? Like, this is the world we're living in. It's awesome. It's so awesome.
Sometimes it's fun to watch Back to the Future 2 or something like that and
Seriously.
see what came true and what didn't. They basically had FaceTime and some of the things like that. And then other things we could see from the future, basically Howard Stern, that kind of media became podcasting, which basically became the future. So
I love that you're saying that, because in my podcast, I always refer to that. I'm like, guys, why don't we have cameras in all four corners? This is good stuff visually. Why are we just allowing people to listen on their way to work when they could actually sit home and watch the show? Like, for me, reality TV, it's not really it's not something I want to do, but the reality of doing a podcast come to life, sort of just talking about real life, is really interesting to me. But yeah, Howard Stern, totally get that.
he was ahead of his time, still is ahead of his time. But can you take compliments, or are you one of those people that goes, nah, don't talk about me?
I like compliments.
Okay. whenever you're watching TV, like old TV, you see the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, that kind of thing. You see the crowd and you see like people who look like they're 80 years old, yet you find out that they're like 50. And then you look at what you look like at 50. That wasn't 50 when I was growing up. So how much of this is genetics versus just hard work and or taking care of yourself? Like, do you have a ratio in your head of what it takes?
I've never had to break down the ratio of genetics versus hard work and lifestyle. I mean, I'm sure a lot of it is genetics, but, you know, a topic that's coming up, you know, right now for me a lot in the press is dealing with, you know, the loss of my brother this summer and the reality of my family who deals with addiction and obesity and a completely different lifestyle. And then there's me, you know, living here in the business, walking the talk. And, you know, it's very tricky for me to have that public conversation, but I really do want to say that lifestyle plays a huge part of longevity, energy, what we do, what we put in our body, how we treat ourselves. Health and wellness is such a bigger, broader picture than just fitness. And all the little tips and tricks along the way too. And biohacking. I mean, I'm a bit of a tech geek in that world, and supplements that I take, red lights and like the Beamer that I use, which, you know, we can talk about that too, like little things that improve energy and circulation and things that I take for anti-aging that are natural. Taking care of our skin, drinking water, not smoking, putting mindful meals into our bodies, like all this stuff that it's a big picture, right? It's the long play for me. And mostly because I'm raising a family, not just because I'm in the wellness business, because I need energy to run my life. And I'm just committed to taking care of this one place that I have to live, like this one body that's mine that I control. Well, just me.
Right.
I control this space, this place that is mine. And I kind of break it down like that in real basic terms. And I wish that messaging was louder and clearer and more simple to a lot of people who really struggle with figuring out how, what, why, and finding their way, getting back to who they are. Look at quarantine 15. People don't even know how to get back to where they were. And, you know, my messaging is just start somewhere, start small, set small goals, reach them, feel that sense of accomplishment, you know?
So something like Beamer, sorry to cut you off, or True Niagen or something like that, that goes on the to-do list of the calendar. Like you have the wake up, coffee, shower, supplement, like that kind of thing.
You know, you're funny. My to-do lists are my lifestyle, my healthy lifestyle is more simple. So you develop healthy habits that feel good. And the more you do them, the more you crave them. Beamer for me is like 8 minutes. If I don't have 8 minutes for me, I am in big trouble. Let's just like start there. So 8 minutes twice a day for me to lay down on a mat that I know is creating energy, improving circulation. I get to actually not just push a button and lay down, which is what Beamer does. I won't get into the science of it. It makes me, you don't feel it, but I know that the results of it feel good. When you start doing something like that, I take those 8 minutes and I use that just to check out, stop thinking. I'm not on my phone during that 8 minutes. So it's also my mindful time where I'm like, let me lay down for 8 minutes, get some physical benefits and take care of myself. True Niagen, which is part of my routine in the morning, whether I'm making my shake, having my morning coffee, taking my thyroid medication, it's my supplement where if you're going to take one supplement, no joke, this is it. Cellular metabolism, energy, it helps me sleep better. So I already know in my mind the results that I get from simple things. I'm going to take 2 pills a day. Yeah. I'm going to make my protein shake every morning. Yeah. It actually saves time for me to cook a meal that morning when I'm grinding and taking the kids to school or going to meetings or whatever. It's little things along the way that are really simple that just become habitual habits. Sure. My workouts that I write down. It's the stuff I need to order for the kids that I write down. It's the appointments.
Got it. So it comes more naturally to you. I don't know if it's cool to mention like another fitness person or like you're on your own island and like there's no other people who are.
No. Totally give it to me.
I don't know if you know Diamond Dallas Page, who's a wrestler turned yoga genius and DDP.
No, but I'm writing it down. See, I'm writing it down.
If you and your team ever want to connect, you and your team are 1 degree away from him based on some mutual friends and all that. Okay. But one of the things he does a lot of is he has a hyperbaric chamber that's basically looks like a sleeping bag. And I see him when I was at his house, he was doing on his iPad like puzzle brain games. So it's interesting to hear that you shut off during your treatment and then he's activating his mind, so that it speaks to not everybody does the same things, but everybody's kind of chasing the same goals in this way. So it's interesting to see that works for you, that works for him. But in your case, the results are undeniable here. So
I think that's really a really cool thing to bring up, because we have to figure out what works for us and fit it into our lives. And when you speak about his weird hyperbaric chamber, you should see my garage. It's full of weirder stuff. Like I had like I had a big pod in there. I've got vibrating machines. I've got red light sauna. I go in my sauna until my phone shuts off because it's so hot and I get my work done. I'll check out in my room with headphones on and an eye mask and like a power button. My kids tease me with something called Newcom. I do that. But there's moments where I need to check out and remove myself. Like I shut my phone off at night. I shut it off unless my children aren't with me. I always put it on airplane mode just to give my brain a break. Because what if my phone's lighting up all night long? What if somebody's calling me all night long? What if I never get a moment for me because we live in a digital world? So I'm pretty good about shutting my workday down. Kids override everything. That's a whole nother thing. But I feel like I've earned that and I need that. And that really speaks to creating boundaries. We've got to create boundaries in our lives so that we can just reboot, right?
Yeah. And then I find that there's two schools of thought when it comes to people who are fitness oriented. And that has to do with music. And one is the music matters. They care about every song that goes on. And there's other people that go, yeah, I don't even notice. As long as the beats per minute is fine. Which one are you? Do you care about the music when you're working out?
Totally music driven. Everything in my life, whether it's home, dinner music, sleep music, my workout playlists, my breath work classes on my app, because licensed music is not great. In fact, sometimes I can't even hear it anymore. So I tell all of my subscribers, I'm like, when you know this workout and you're sick of hearing me, because you're going to get sick of hearing my voice and you're sick of the music, you crank up your own jam, because I think music inspires us. I have music in the morning, driving the kids to school before sports. I'm big in that, like, that's my love. And I'm always making playlists, and all my playlists are public too. So I share them.
Oh, well, for those who have not checked out or subscribed yet, what are some of the go-to artists for you? And you're not going to offend me. Trust me.
No. You know what? I like kind of strange music. So I listen to a lot of yoga music. I listen to a lot of jazz, from old Nina Simone to pretty much anything. But I also like random DJs. Like Jan Mueller is somebody who I just discovered who redoes like old Motown, puts a cool beat to it. And I love current music also, but I like mashups and current music mixed up in a different way. Like there's a guy named Mike Zito. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. I've never heard of him, where he just did a remake of Little Red Corvette by Prince. I swear I can play this song for 20 people and give them the first 30 seconds. No one can name that tune, because I like to find a different spin on music we love. Maybe I'm lyrically connected, to certain things, but it's really fun to do that. Spotify, SoundCloud's a great way to do that too. Super fun.
So you were never a metal person, never a hard rock person?
I was in high school. Well, yeah. And I hosted Rockstar in Excess way back when. So yeah, I was AC/DC, Def Leppard was my first concert. Yeah, totally. I did
watch Rockstar in Excess. I did watch that, for the record. You never know when you see hosts on reality shows and they're doing, that rocks. Yeah. You never know if they were coached into doing that. In your case, you were actually into the Mutt Line.
I was a rocker, and that was such a fun show to be in, like a live rock concert from unsigned talent, bringing back all the old greats from Janis Joplin to everything. It was such an epic show. Loved it.
There you go. So to recap what we've spoken about, the app is growing, still have to film content. You're still the CEO. That's never changing. It's a big process to look great, but you make it all happen while balancing the family stuff. You make time for music. We didn't talk about diet or that kind of stuff the next time I speak with you. Okay. But I'm curious, Coffee, is that part of your routine?
First things first, honestly, Darren, coffee, yes, lots of coffee. I intermittent fast, so coffee's top of the morning for me. Intermittent fasting was like the easiest way to attack like shifting into a new nutrition plan. Easy to research that. Don't get buried. Don't simplify it. It's really simple. But coffee, yes, every morning I froth my milk. It's a ritual for me. I'm very snobby about my coffee. It's got to be super hot. I've already had 2 cups. I even put my leftover coffee in my shake in the morning. I do. I put everything I need in my shake because it's easy and I get everything I need and it's one drink. But yeah, I even drink green tea all day long. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So we learned that caffeine is a good thing. Will we ever see a Brooke Burke energy drink?
I would love to do a Brooke Burke energy drink. I mean, a supplement line, lots of things that are going to allow us to create energy and sustain ourselves through the day. I mean, I used to be the person hitting Starbucks afternoon on the way home from school. Now I know how to put other things into my body. Now I know that working out creates adrenaline and dopamine and vitamin D. And there's all these things that we can do that create natural energy. So I'm a big believer in that. And it's one thing I tell all women: when you're feeling funky, when you don't have energy, when you want to skip it, those are the days when you have to do it, because you create more energy. It's a different kind of energy. You know, you walk out in a different state of mind than you walked into any class or any workout, and you set it up in your living room. You light us up on the smart TV now, which is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
We're on Roku, we're on Vizio, we're on Samsung. So there's no more excuses. If you don't have equipment, grab water bottles, wine bottles, grab anything, grab an office chair, use your sofa. We've really created all these fun ways of working out at home. I've got workouts in the kitchen, on the kitchen island, like a bar class, like a hardcore leg and core and booty workout that you can do in the kitchen while you're making dinner. So I just realized that you got to make it fun or you're going to skip it. So fitness should be fun and it should be doable, whether you're spending 5 minutes or 20 or 30 or whatever it is. We just, choreographed a whole new holiday handful program, which is so simple. It's 5 of my best moves for upper body, 5 abs, 5 booty, 5 cardio, 5 minutes in the morning. And I'm trying to teach people the mindful part of this. Take 5 minutes in the morning for yourself, check in with yourself. I'm going to share my mindful playlist in the morning. It's 5 minutes, crank it up, go inside, ask yourself how you're doing, take a moment for yourself and start your day. And I think the days of having an hour, I don't have an hour to spend on that unless I'm teaching. You know what I mean? So I think we have shifted into a new fitness space and a new way of caring for our bodies, right? We kind of learned that pandemic, this new world. It's a new way. It really is. It's a new way of approaching all of these things for our health, right? Our wellness, our mind, our body, our soul, all of it.
The last thing I want to ask you, and then you're free, is there's not a lot of free time in your world, but do you have a TV recommendation you could pass along?
Well, I'm a little slow. I have to admit that I'm so deep in Handmaid's Tale right now, and it's so dark and important and difficult to watch. So I'm watching it alone at night by myself. I'm dying for Yellowstone to come back. I feel like I never had time for TV, but during these last few years, my boyfriend and I, fiance and I, we binge watched everything. And it was so fun to finally have time to do that. He and my son are watching Squid.
Oh yeah.
It's too dark and violent for me because I watch TV at night. So that, like, for my nervous system, it's a little much for me. Not that Handmaid's Tale isn't easier.
All right. Well, you have great taste in television as well, but thank you so much for your time and
thank you, Darren.
Success. Looking forward to whatever is next. Whether or not there's an energy drink involved, I'm interested.
You know what? I'm going to make that energy drink and I'm going to send it to you because we both need it.